All right, we're live. Okay. You want me to lead the questions tonight?
Okay,
All right. So this
talking about the value.
discussion is about RightNow Technologies. It's basically a case about a guy who founded the company. He got like a. Did he get a Series 1 and a Series 2 round of financing, or was it just one round? I think he got like 16 million for the first round, and then now he's got an offer for an acquisition in his hand that he's evaluating. So he's trying to decide what to do. Um, okay, so the first question is, what value do you place on RightNow Technologies? So here we go back to like valuations. What do you guys think is the most appropriate way to evaluate a company?
Okay, I'm back. Hopefully it doesn't log me out.
Yeah, number one, how do you what value do you place on RightNow Technologies?
Same. Hmm. Is that referring to the purchase, the buyout?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. Um, you evaluate a company like that. It's talking about how its revenues grew up to 35 million, right?
Yeah.
Over, I guess that's 35 million a year or a quarter.
Yeah, annual.
Yeah, I think I did. But according to the projections in Exhibit 6, it says that it will raise total revenue of 60 million also?
Yeah.
2004, 60 million. A gross profit of 45 million.
For 2004. So I think that the proposal was for 50 million, right? That he was
Yeah.
receiving.
Because it's getting a revenue of 60 million, but then it has there's operating expenses of about 43 or more, and it lets you put you on an income of 2 million. How do you evaluate a company by a revenue or?
Yeah, I think it's a well, it varies. But I think a lot of the cases that we've been talking about, it has been a multiple of revenues. And I went in reading through this case, like it sounded like the founder and some of the other executives, they were using as a basis of valuation like the 12-month trailing average or whatever. But the offer that they got from the company that wants to acquire them, it was like they were going to go with their projected number, so that was pretty generous for them to like kind of give them that. But I think they're just trying. They want to buy them, so they're trying to make the offer like See.
So the 50 million is higher than what the projections were for that 12-month process that you just mentioned. Or what was their valuation before the offer? Do you know? Because they were going.
I think that they're on track to do 35 million in 2003, and he's got the offer in his hand at the end of 2003. So I think the forecast, what they're going to do next year, but I don't see that in one of the exhibits. But maybe I just haven't seen that one yet. Do they have forecasting? Oh yeah, they do. Oh, 60 million. That's what you're saying.
They were. I mean, it doesn't really give you a number, but they were impressed on the offer, by the offer.
Yeah.
So they weren't thinking they were valued that high.
We can see, for example, Exhibit 4 that mention different companies that also were sold. And I think that the 50 million is actually not the cheapest or lowest offer, but it was like in the middle or something like that. The thing is the adjusted price revenue per revenue or adjusted price over revenue. Because I don't know if it mentioned if it will receive a premium or if this number will increase.
Yeah, the exhibit number 4 that talks about the merger and acquisition transactions in the software industry. It shows that some of those companies were like 2 and 3 and 4x of what their revenues were. So if the revenue was 35 million, 3x of that would be, more than 100 million. So that's probably comparable to what the market was that was happening in the industry.
It was actually also mentioning, like, when they were trying to go IPO, mentioned how a lot of companies actually were smaller, were going IPO and getting a good valuation, with pretty much nothing to prove it. It was the top of the internet boom, .coms and stuff like that. And the reason they didn't go public is because when they were trying to, it went down. So are these companies like those? Because if what that were similar that went public before them, then perhaps they're valued at a higher level because of how the market was behaving back then, but might not be the same now. Do you know if those are those companies?
No, these are after, because these are like 2003, 2004.
Oh yeah.
So it's about the same time.
SAP, PeopleSoft. Equity market value. do you measure that? Because SAP, their revenues, oh, it's in millions, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
Where do you see SAP?
Oh,
Where is that? Is
SAP
that
is like the fourth down or fifth. Um, as a,
in Exhibit 4?
I'm looking at Crooked. Yeah,
what is
Exhibit
it?
3.
Oh, Exhibit 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the equity market value for them in 2003 was 47,906. Is that 100 million? I don't know. Because the revenue was,
Oh, wow.
I think it's maybe.
those numbers mean there where it says equity market value for those companies in 2003. It's Exhibit 3.
Yeah, I see that. Equity market value. What does that mean?
And, and then it says revenue for 2003 and revenue for 2004. Is that million? Because then it's 8,540,000, 7,912,000, 47 million of equity market, or
Yeah, because the total will be almost the same of the 50 million.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
probably
But what I don't get is that their revenue is just not even 8 million in 2003, and their equity market value is already at 50, the highest. I don't get how that works.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't get that either.
So are we saying that the 50 million that they got offered is really high? Or what was the million? Or when you're talking about revenue, are you talking about like income?
No, I think it's just
Or is it,
it's the gross amount you're bringing in. Not your net.
so we're talking about that had a gross profit of 45 million, or according to Exhibit 6. 46 million. Is that what it's compared to on revenue on Exhibit 3 for those other companies? What can we compare revenues?
Yeah,
The same revenues for those companies.
so Exhibit 6 is their forecast for 2004.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they expect to be 60 million.
Compared to those companies. Let's see.
Oh.
60. I don't understand if the numbers there on
Here's millions?
Exhibit 3, it says 94, 60, 68 on revenue for those different companies. I'm not sure if that's 60 million or it has to be, right?
It has to be millions, yeah.
In millions. So we have that company there for 60 million in revenue for 2003, 69 for 2004. Similar,
Yeah.
which is Kana Software, and then they have an equity market value of 93. So does that mean the market value The same as the 50 million that they're getting offered? Is that what it's saying? Is that value for that company? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
It's confused.
I'm not good at numbers.
So, so the next
So
question.
what value would you place?
So the next question is, please provide a range of values rather than a single number. How do you come to this conclusion? So,
I mean, just looking at it quick and trying to compare it to other companies, that's how I would get to that conclusion, because I'm not sure how to really plug in the numbers to get something more
yeah.
specific. But
I think that's how it's done. They look for comparable companies and what those sales are. That's always like their basis for valuation. So once one company sells, then kind of other companies are measured by that in a way. I guess there's a lot of factors to take into account for as well. Because one of the things that they did was they hired that marketing guy. I think his name is Mike Myers, and he went through and kind of reset what their focus was, and it sounded like they had a pretty good plan, and it was starting to get traction. It said that just a couple months later they were cash flow positive. So things like that also affect the valuation. Excuse me, the valuation, right? When then all of a sudden you can tap into a new market. I hope we lost Samuel.
I think they lost him. Great return.
What is an internal rate of return?
Yeah, I actually looking for the same.
On IIR.
Let's see.
I'm back.
We are looking for the IRR or internal rate of return. And
Are we on number 3?
Well, yeah. If you have any more input for number 2, we can still go with that one.
Kind of like going through the other companies that are similar and kind of basing it off of that.
Yeah,
Kind of
right.
hard. It's a bit hard. Leave that number. I wonder how they came up with it. So they had a different perspective of their company. I think a lot of it is just the hype. Like when the market is up, everyone's like excited and we're gonna make a lot of money if we, and then just sell it or something like that, or go IPO or make a lot of money. And sometimes the companies aren't even that solid, but it's just because it's tech or the internet is booming or a certain sector is like doing really good at that time. Housing, I don't know. Just depends.
Yeah.
But I guess with tech, it's kind of hard because really there's like, you're talking about inventories and all that kind of stuff. You don't really have that. It's just kind of like you're in the cloud, right?
Yeah.
It's a service. So it's kind of hard to value something like that. But on number 3, they won about 30 to 50 internal rate of return. Exit value will they expect? The investors aren't the same ones, right, as the people trying to buy it? Where the investors are...
I think the investors were the people that put in the 16.4 million or whatever the first round.
Uh-huh. So is it investors are going to get... So they put 16 million and now you're going to sell it for 50. And they want about 50% of that, or
and that's
Plus the 30 to 50% internal rate of return. What exit value? 3%. Well, let's see. So in December of 1999, they closed. The investors basically put in 16.4 million, and so that's December of 1999, and he has this offer in his hand, and that's 2003. Basically December 2003, so that's what, 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So to calculate the internal rate of return, so for them to have their money tied up for 4 years and to get like 50% return on their money, that means that they would get what, like 24 million back? Then that's a 50% return on their money. So anywhere from 24 million to, but that's over 4 years, so that might be, geez, I don't know. What do you guys think?
think it's about 32, almost 33 million.
So about double. They'd like double their money.
I'm thinking, let me see. And they're trying to get a return of 30 to 50% on top of that. Because they get their investment back, right? But they have to make money as well.
Yeah. Man, this is just one of those weeks, I guess. Jeez. This is what exit value would I expect? All right, well, let's move on to number 4. So Greg had what, 3 different options that he was considering?
Mm-hmm.
What's your guys' opinion? What should he do?
I think that's the easiest question. Just by reading the case.
Yeah.
Up to the beginning, how much money did they put in? You guys remember?
No, I don't. Not very much.
Not very much.
5,000. 5,000 bucks.
Yeah. I put 5,000 bucks. Later are getting paid 50 million, and their investors are going to take about half, maybe a little bit more than half.
Isn't the offer like 100 million? Or is it 50? Or do we know?
I think that's 50.
Is it 50? Plus, it's just a stock only deal too, right?
50 million.
Yeah, because in 2003 they have
Was
like
it 50?
5 million.
So what would you do, Miguel? Which option?
Well, about the options, I will go for the first one, accept the acquisition and grow within a larger organization.
Yeah.
First of all, because I consider the time that we are talking about 2000, 2005, that was where the internet was emerging or having a great boom, and it will increase, and the market was, or well, the industry itself was changing a lot, and it was not very like stable.
Mm-hmm.
So I consider that the best option could be that Giant Ford could take this option in order to have more resources and also ensure that this venture or this company could keep growing besides all the different competence and the different companies that was also developing and releasing new updates or new services that could compete and put at threat if this company itself was remain by itself. So I think that the best option in this moment, because of this technological change, could be that RightNow technologies could merge with another one.
Mm-hmm.
So you think they should merge?
Yeah.
Okay. So one of them is reject the acquisition. Option number one.
Mine, yes.
Pretty much accepting the buyout, right?
It talks about both that it will be sold or that it will remain with a larger organization, like working together.
I guess for me, I think that I would take option one as well. I guess it's like a personal preference too, and what your risk appetite is. Because option one seems to be a pretty stable, workable deal.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at some of the other options, to plan for an IPO, there's a lot of unknowns with that. You know, the upside could be bigger, but you risk the possibility that it may fail again, or it may not produce as much. And then the other option, I guess, is just reject the acquisition offer and continue to grow organically. I mean, that's risky just because the opportunity cost of the deal that you have in your hand, you know, it's hard to know what will happen a year from now. But I would do option number one too. I would do that.
I'll go with number one. I was talking about how their close competition, or the company that main competitor had like 40% more of the market than them. Impossible to compete with them at that point. So growing organically wouldn't work. That goes off right away. And then going for an IPO, I mean, that could bring in some money, but they still have to work internally, all that everything within management, and still raise the money. And he had a pretty bold plan to get everyone on hold, to grow from like 50 to 100% per year. It was hire a certain amount of people, something like that, or get a certain amount of clients. It was pretty aggressive, and he was really behind. He needed money to do that. Just the simple idea of going IPO was going to take a lot of effort from the whole company. So focusing on two things at the same time, I think, was going to stretch him too thin. And then I guess just the idea of getting that money and then think it's a good deal. I mentioned people really wealthy. Get the money to continue to grow, right? And have a bigger company to support and be able to compete. Bigger ones, or the competitors that were doing a lot better. So it was easier for them, and at the same time, pockets.
All right. Okay, that sounds good. Well, should we wrap it up? Call it a. So, what's the other assignment that we have? Is it something different? Are we going to be meeting again?
I think it is. It's a I don't think so. I think it's a personal assignment. At least that's what I read.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it should be by ourselves, but alone. I think we can meet
It's another.
next week.
I'm pretty sure it's another case study, but we don't need to meet. I'm not sure how, but it's just a personal thing.
Okay.
So
All right.
until next week.
Yeah, we'll see you next Wednesday then, guys.
Okay, great.
All right, I'll post
Have
the
a good
link
night.
in just a minute. All right, see you. Have a good night.
Bye.